Bulgaria's railways are some of the most worn out in Europe, with ancient diesel engines and heavily vandalised carriages. Well, today I'm going to be taking you on a railway adventure, travelling between two of the country's biggest cities, Varna and Plovdiv. But this isn't just any trip, as I'll be riding in so-called first class in a communist-era carriage. We'll even visit this very unusual restaurant car. Join me, as it's going to be a beautiful journey through the heart of the Balkans. Good morning from Varna, a major Bulgarian city and a gateway to the Black Sea. This beautiful station building first opened its doors 100 years ago, in 1925, though railways first reached the city in 1866 with the route to Russe at the border to Romania. Heading inside the station, we find a few basic facilities. There's a small shop selling drinks and snacks, as well as a ticket office. Meanwhile, the rest of the station just features these rather charming blue and yellow benches. Varna is a pretty well-served city, as far as railways in the Balkans go. As well as fast trains towards the capital Sofia, the city sees numerous local routes. This one to Dobrich being hauled by a 1970s Soviet locomotive. And lastly, numerous overnight trains depart for Sofia every night, using modern air-conditioned sleeper cars. But my train today is anything but modern and air-conditioned. I'm catching BV 8650, leaving at 0905 to Sofia via Plovdiv, where I'm going. BV actually stands for Brzvlak, which translates as fast train, but don't get excited, as no form of transport in Bulgaria is ever in any rush. As you can see, the train is in an awful state, with the livery barely being recognisable under all this graffiti. In a stark contrast, our locomotive for this journey is a brand new Siemens Smartron, but we'll get a closer look at that later on in the video. I'm travelling in first class coach A3, situated in the middle of the train. This carriage dates back to 1982, having been manufactured by Waggonbau Bautzen, then in East Germany. It's a classic compartment coach, with 3 seats per row, making it pretty spacious. And I'm sitting here by the window, in seat 16. Today's route sees us crossing the eastern half of Bulgaria, heading mostly southwest through the Karnobat-Aitos mountain range and the historic city of Stara Zagora. Journey time is 6 hours exactly, covering 384 kilometres or about 241 miles. And we're off, departing on time at 0905. As we leave the country's third city, we catch a glimpse of cranes at its port, with this facility no doubt being part of the reason why it's such an important city. The route out of Varna passes the region's main railway depot. On show are many of the country's most modern trains, sitting out of use long term due to difficulties and costs in acquiring spare parts. As we make our way out of the city's suburbs and into the country, let's take a look around the compartment. As I mentioned, these compartments each feature 6 seats, which will be shared with others. These old school seats have loads of padding. It's like sitting in an armchair. There's also a padded and winged headrest, which was sort of attached. You can also find 2 armrests for each seat, plenty of space for everyone and their arms. These are also reclining seats, as you can see from this blatantly visible hinge. The seat reclines very far for a pleasant relaxation position. By the window is a small table, ideal for personal items and nothing else, while beneath this is a rubbish bin. Luggage racks are available above each seat, with smaller items on the lower rack, while bulky items can fill the space above. There are also coat hooks attached to the bottom. While the graffiti on the window does its best to obstruct my view, curtains are also available to block out the sun. And drawing these revealed something I was not expecting. This old train has been retrofitted with power sockets. And an even bigger surprise, they actually worked! Back outside, we are coming into our first stop, Beloslav. This rather unassuming set of platforms serves a town of around 8,000 people. However, this is actually situated across the canal, necessitating a ferry to access. Just a few minutes later, we call at Sindel, a recent benefactor of infrastructure investment, now looking a lot like a typical station in Western Europe. As you can probably tell, these trains feature opening windows, perfect for some fresh air and the best views over the passing landscape. There's no air conditioning on this train, meaning if the weather is hot, it can get a bit stuffy if there's not much airflow. There is one carriage that is fitted with air conditioning, however, that one has its own problems, as I'll show you later. This station is Comunari, our last scheduled stop for quite some time. The village has a population of just over 100 people, so its train station is pretty much the most significant thing about it. By now, you've probably noticed that this so-called fast train is actually not really that fast. Well, I did tell you that nothing ever happens in a rush here. And indeed, we make an unscheduled stop at Asporokovo to allow a freight train to pass. This part of the route passes through the Karnobat-Aitos range, part of the region's titular Balkan mountains. It's certainly not the most impressive scenery the region has to offer, but there is plenty of it to enjoy as the train winds its way towards the west. Our modern electric locomotive makes short work of the steep inclines on this section. Despite being part of a key mainline between Bulgaria's biggest cities, this route is just single track, with the exception of some of the larger stations, of course. This limited infrastructure means that delays are very common, as one small problem can cause a knock-on effect for the rest of the day. Right, time for something to eat. Believe it or not, this old train actually features a dining car, so let's go and pay a visit. Well, despite a menu promising sandwiches, there wasn't really much on offer. I went for an iced tea and a couple of bars of chocolate. The lady at the counter sternly informed me one purchase allows me to stay in the dining car for 1 hour, after which I must leave. I guess the idea of service with a smile has not yet reached this corner of the world. This dining car was beautiful. It's second-hand from Germany and dates back to the early 1970s, having latterly worked on the Berlin-Warsaw Express. Nowadays though, it doesn't have working air conditioning, and without opening windows, it was kinda getting uncomfortable. This is Karnobat, one of the prime junctions on the network, with the other line heading towards Burgas, another one of Bulgaria's major cities. Things actually pick up pace here, with our train finally being deserving of its fast classification. In fact, we even reach around 130 kilometers an hour, the maximum for this stretch of line. Bulgaria is a major global producer of sunflower seeds, evident by the endless fields of yellow out of the window for much of the journey. It's actually the world's 7th largest producer of sunflower seed, though the country also farms millions of tons of wheat and maize per year too. This is Stara Zagora, a historic city here in the heart of the country. The city goes back 8,000 years and is one of the longest continuously inhabited places in Europe. Time to have a look around the rest of the train. 3 of the 5 coaches on this service are regular second-class compartment cars. Despite featuring the same amount of legroom, these carriages are a lot less comfortable for one reason. There are 8 seats in each compartment, with most only having 1 armrest. This is alright on quieter trains or for shorter journeys, but I've travelled in full carriages for a few hours and can confirm it's not very pleasant. Oh, and by the way, watch out for doors that aren't fully closed, even while running at speed. Toilets are located at the ends of every carriage. Basic wouldn't even scratch the surface when it comes to describing this. The toilet is pretty much just an elevated hole in the ground, leading straight to the tracks. Yes, it sort of flushes, but there's no toilet seat. This desecrated pile of scraps is your toilet paper, and a nice bar of soap is provided. Water comes out of this spout. This toilet is really quite bleak, so I'd recommend going before you board, if you possibly can. You can also charge your laptop in here, which is nice. Outside, we're making good progress. This is a privately owned freight train, operated by Bulmarket. The operator is probably best known for their large fleet of imported British electric locomotives, shown here. This route from Stara Zagora to Plovdiv is currently undergoing major rebuilding to allow for faster running. The winding route through many tiny villages will be sidelined by these express trains, taking a more direct alignment to Plovdiv. This station is Cherna Gora, where things seem to go a bit wrong. We're awaiting a late running train from the other direction. It seems many fellow passengers have taken the chance to stretch their legs too. Our modern Siemens Smartron locomotive is still at the head of the train. This is a low-cost option of the popular Siemens Vectron, over 1,000 of which can be found across Europe. Each locomotive features a letter from the historic Glagolitic alphabet. This one has Kako, the equivalent of Ka in modern times. And after a few minutes, a bold headlight is spotted in the distance, the train we've been waiting for. As we depart, it's time to talk about how much this journey cost. I booked my ticket the day before travel. Prices are always the same and don't change based on demand. This cost me 23.50 Bulgarian lev, and I think that's a great deal. For reference, this is only around 25% more expensive than second class. The approach to Plovdiv is a bit of a mess, with various freight marshalling yards and track rebuilds to snake through and avoid. But perhaps the biggest surprise of the entire trip is still coming up. Believe it or not, we pull into Plovdiv station 4 minutes early. Not bad in a country where trains are known for always being late. Overall, I actually had a really good journey. Whilst the train is slow and the toilets were pretty grim, I had a comfortable reclining seat in a compartment, with sockets and some sort of onboard catering available. But despite this good experience, this still is not the best train in the Balkans. For that, we have to travel on Serbia's amazing double-decker high-speed train, and you can watch that incredible experience by clicking up here now.